Hello and welcome to this episode of the Business Spotlight. Today we are joined by Claire Munday. Hiya, Claire.
Hello, Mark. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So for those of you that are joining us on the Business Spotlight for the first time, what is it I hear you say? So the Business Spotlight, we've basically created a podcast where we interview local business owners and we talk to them about business, about their businesses to find out a bit more about that and just some of the trials and tribulations that they've experienced whilst running their business. So Claire, if you can just kick things off for us by letting the audience know who you are, what you do and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yes, absolutely. So as you said, my name is Claire Munday and I run a company called Tappy Toes. I created Tappy Toes almost 20 years ago now, and it is a dance and movement syllabus. And I ran it in my local area, which at that time was Watford and Rickmansworth in Hertfordshire, for many, many years. And then I decided to branch out into franchising. So now we're a franchise brand, and we have classes all the way up from Scotland down to Plymouth and also over in Dubai.
Wow, Dubai, gone
Yeah.
global.
Well, we're trying. That's the aim eventually. But yeah, we have classes over in Dubai, which means I've been able to go over and visit a couple of times. So what a perk of the job, hey?
What a perk indeed. Wow, that's a fantastic share. Thank you. So we're going to dig into that in a little bit more detail then,
Yeah.
Claire. But what would you say makes you guys different from anybody else out there doing something similar to what you do?
Yeah, so we like to kind of promote ourselves as a really kind of gender neutral class because we're really trying to get more boys into dance. So all of our kind of promotional materials, we have lots of boys featured, and every class that we run has a real mix and variety of music, imagery that we use and exercises that really lends itself to both boys and girls. Because I think in the dance world, it's been notoriously difficult to get boys involved. So I'd say that's what we're really trying to do with Tappy Toes. And I think with the brand that we came up with, I think we've really managed to achieve that. And a lot of our classes actually have 50% boys in. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's amazing and such a great share and so interesting to hear. So, wow, 20 years. I mean, that's a long time to have been in business. You must have experienced quite a lot of highs and lows within that period. So, I mean, if you could give us maybe, I don't know, like a whistle stop tour, Claire, of just sort of like, how the business started and just bring us up to speed to where you are with it now.
Yeah, so I've always been a dancer. I've danced since I was 3 years old, and I trained at a professional dance college. I went on to dance professionally for 10 years and kind of traveled the world here and there dancing. And alongside that, I'd always taught dance and I've always loved teaching. That was kind of my first love, more than performing, to be honest. So I knew that I would eventually have my own dance school and that I would do something in that realm. And basically, Tappy Toes came about because at that point, there wasn't really anything for children younger than 3. And when they got to 3, the only option really was ballet. So we wanted to be an alternative to ballet and we wanted to start from 2. So we started with I had one lesson plan I created for 2-year-olds. And that's how it started. So I just offered that one class for 2-year-olds, and then it grew from there in that people would come and then they would bring younger siblings, and then they'd say, oh, my daughter's only 18 months, but can she do it? And so the age range has massively expanded from that very first lesson plan of being for 2-year-olds. And now we cater for babies where we have a music, movement and sensory class for 6 months. So as soon as they're sitting up, and we go all the way up to Key Stage 1, Year 2. So we take the classes now into schools as well. So it's massively shifted over the years, and I suppose we've just adapted and kind of pivoted to keep up with the demands and to keep it fresh, I suppose.
Wow, what a journey so far then. I mean, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, I initially, when I had the idea for Tappy Toes, and I was trying to think of a name, and I came up with Tappy Toes just through kind of brainstorming and talking it through with a friend. And she said to me, you've got to get it trademarked. It's brilliant. And I said, I can't, I haven't got any money. And she said, well, I will lend you the £250 it costs to get it trademarked. You've got to trademark the name.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. So that's kind of how I started the business. I borrowed the £250 from my friend Vicky. applied for the trademark myself. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but got online, learned about how to apply for a trademark, and did it. And I suppose the rest is history. That was a great piece of advice, because I wasn't really a business person back then. I didn't really know much about business. And you need a trademark if
Absolutely,
you want to
yeah.
build it, right?
Wow,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's
Well, yeah, and
fantastic.
that you've done. I mean, like you just mentioned that you've got classes from sort of Plymouth all the way up to Scotland, and even in Dubai now. I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean that said, Claire, I mean, what does the future hold? I mean, what are the plans going forward?
Yeah, well, I still want to continue to grow here in the UK. So currently we have 32 franchises, which means we operate out of over 100 locations. So there's still plenty of room in the UK for more franchises. So I'd love to grow the network here in the UK. We're also in talks with a master franchise for India, and we're hoping to kind of take it out over to India as well. So that's kind of the next stage of the plan, and also to continue building on what we have in the UAE, and hopefully get some more franchisees on board there, starting with Abu Dhabi, perhaps Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah. So yeah, so there's lots of like growth plans, certainly.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I mean, it does really sound like sky's the limit, yeah?
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I think that we do have a really, really good product in our syllabus. It's not just about dance. I'm always kind of saying, Tappy Toes, I say to parents, Tappy Toes is not just about dance. It's not just about bringing your child to a dance class. Um, they're learning so much more. There's so much child development involved in it, from like communication skills to vocabulary, obviously fine and gross motor skills, and all of that side of it, with the coordination, the balance, the posture. But there's just so much to it. And I just feel like every child should experience a Tappy Toes class. Every child should have the opportunity to dance and have everything that brings.
Wow, I love that. Every child should experience a Tappy Toes class. Absolutely love
Definitely.
it. Absolutely brilliant. So, Claire, I mean, moving on to yourself then as the business owner, what would you say has been, if you could just sort of narrow it down to maybe one major lesson that you've learned running the business?
Oh, well, I mean, how long have you got, Mark? But I would say it comes back actually to what I said about the trademark situation. Obviously, I got the trademark for the UK. At that point, I had no plans to expand beyond the UK. I had no idea that this was on the cards. And then when I did come to expand and I went out to the UAE, I couldn't get the Tappy Toes trademark in the UAE. So that was a massive learning curve, because we then had to pivot again. And I suppose business is all about how you adapt and pivot. And I didn't go, oh, okay, well, that's it. We can't launch in Dubai. We said, okay, well, what should we do? What do we do? So we used one of our class names, which is Toddle Toes, and we trademarked Toddle Toes, and that's what we're known as over in Dubai. And that's been fine. It looks the same as our brand. It's the same product that we're delivering. It's just a very slightly different name. So that was a major learning curve, because I spent a lot of money putting in. Obviously, I didn't just do it by myself when it's Dubai, because it's not my country. I don't really know how to do it. So I had to spend money on lawyers and trademark attorneys and everything to get it approved. So that was tough. That was tough, kind of thinking we were going to launch, we were all ready, and then not having the name that we wanted, and it was gutting, but we navigated around it and we found a way, and it's all fine.
I think that's it, and that's a fantastic share, because it's quite common that I hear, various different examples of, like you've mentioned, pivot and the resilience that you have as a business owner, and knowing that, if you can't do it a certain way, that you can always, make a slight change and pivot to that point of making that change work. And it's exactly what you've just done there. So it's that, resilience, which is quite a common thing that we hear time and time again from other business owners that we do speak to.
Yeah. And I think it's having that belief as well in your idea. I am really passionate, if you can't tell, about Tappy Toes. I love the brand. I love what we deliver. I love going to visit franchisees and watching them deliver the classes that I created 20 years ago. It is absolutely wonderful. And I think if you really love your product or your service and you really believe in it, then you will make it a success. The minute you start to doubt the product or the service, it's going to be very, very hard to sell it to anybody else.
Exactly that. I mean, that's a great share. And I think you just said it. I mean, you're very passionate. You can tell just by, your body language and the way that you're speaking about the business. But what is it that you would say is your main guiding light? What is it that inspires you or puts that fire in your belly every day, every week to do what you do, Claire?
Oh, well, now it's my kids. It's, wanting, particularly my daughter, only because she loves dance and she's really into it all as well. And part of me wonders if she will take over the business eventually. I mean, she's only 9, nearly 10 at the moment, but that kind of keeps me driving forward, because I think perhaps one day she will want to own and run this. And yeah, and she loves it when she comes with me, and she's my little helper, and she grew up with Tappy Toes, I mean, my son did come as well when he was little, but they would come and join in the classes when I was teaching them, and now if it's a holiday and there's a class going on, she'll come along and help give out the props, and she loves seeing the little ones. And yeah, so I think that's, my kids drive me to, not just for her to eventually take over maybe one day, but also for them to see that I'm working hard and I'm making a success of something. And I hope that that's inspiring to them to see that if you don't give up and you keep going, and
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I mean, it's another fantastic share. So thank you very much for that, Claire. So I'm going to ask you a question, and what we're going to do, you have to imagine that we've got a time machine. We're going to go back in time, right?
Okay.
So, picture it how you will. I'm sort of born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, kid. So I always think of the DeLorean whenever I think about time travel. So we're going to jump in the DeLorean and we're going to go back in time, and we're going to go and speak with an 18-year-old Claire.
Oh, gosh.
Now, yeah. So, but you're going to get the opportunity to give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, one golden nugget. What would it be?
Okay. Does it just, it has to be one piece? So I would say, I mean, even at that age, I was pretty determined and pretty resilient, I would say, because in order to get to college, to the dance college that I went to, there weren't any grants. My parents didn't have money to send me somewhere like that. So I actually raised the money myself to go. And I raised enough money to go for one term. And at that point, I was 17. I was that determined that I was going to go and I was going to be a dancer and all of that I did that. So I think I already had that sort of grit and determination back then. But what I maybe lacked was a bit of confidence to really believe. Like when I went to the dance college, I never thought I could sing, for example. And actually, I'm okay. Like I'm never going to be a singer, but I was fine. Like if I'd had more confidence with that, I would have got more work as a dancer, a performer, whatever. So I would go back and I would tell 18-year-old Claire that you can sing better than you think. So I suppose, just have confidence. Just have confidence in yourself and belief in yourself.
Yeah, I think that's so key, and another great show. I mean, it is, isn't it? It's when we're younger, that confidence level, it's not always where it could be potentially. And I think that would be a great piece of advice if only we had that DeLorean, right?
Such a shame, isn't it, that we just don't have that belief when we're that age. But
yeah, but no, great piece of advice, and obviously some of our listeners out there might be of that age. So yeah, that confidence thing is definitely there. So lastly, Claire, just to wrap things up then, there's going to be lots of people that are going to want to find out more about Tappy Toes and a lot more about you and your business and your franchises. So people want to get hold of you. What's the best way for them to do that? And if they want to sort of come along to a class as well?
Yeah, brilliant. So we've just had a brand new website done. So head to tappytoes.com. And at tappytoes.com, you'll be able to, as a parent, book classes, like find your local class. There's like a little map search function so you can find the nearest class for you. There's also a page on there about franchising. So if anyone's interested in joining our network, there's a prospectus that you can download that tells you a bit more about it. And then from there, they can book a discovery call, and I will happily chat to anyone about Tappy Toes and dance and children's franchising. So yeah, do get in touch. You can find me on LinkedIn as Claire Munday. I think if you just search Claire Munday Tappy Toes, hopefully you'll find me. But yeah.
That's fantastic. Claire, thank you so much for joining us today on the episode.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. So, and for everyone listening, that is a wrap. That's another episode of the Business Spotlight, and we'll see or hear from you all again very soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye.